She's still behind the curtains in the reading room, watching the blood pool on the floor.
I've heard about some oddities here in the keep. Was that you?
Yes, maybe. What was it?
Someone found a barrel full of misplaced daggers. Was that you?
They were safer there.
Let's talk about something else.
All right.
The servants are having trouble remembering some odd events. Someone is leaving peeled plums on the windowsill. It's attracting flies.
Spiders need to eat.
And healers need something to treat infected wounds. Like spiderwebs.
The plums are already dead. They don't mind helping.
Can I assume you're responsible for the turnips that have shown up in the fireplaces?
They don't smell the same raw.
You needed that soldier to smell them so he could die thinking he'd gone home.
He did go home.
Someone stole an entire cheese wheel.
Mice like cheese.
Do mice also like bowls of crushed mint?
That was for the cats.
So the cheese lures the mice, and the mice lure the cats, and then they smell the mint.
Mint makes the cats dance and play.
Let's talk about something else.
All right.
I hear you've been busy. I'll talk to you later.
Yes.
Gloat all you like. I have this one.
Are you sassing me, Commander? I didn't know you had it in you.
Why do I even... Inquisitor.
Leaving, are you? Does this mean I win?
Are you two playing nice?
I'm always nice. You need to come to terms with my inevitable victory. You'll feel much better.
Really? Because I just won, and I feel fine.
Don't get smug. There will be no living with you.
I should return to my duties as well. Unless you would care for a game.
Prepare the board, Commander.
As a child, I played this with my sister. She would get this stuck-up grin whenever she won, which was all the time. My brother and I practiced together for weeks. Oh, the look on her face the day I finally won. Between serving the Templars and the Inquisition, I haven't seen them in years. I wonder if she still plays.
You have siblings.
2 sisters and a brother.
Where are they now?
They moved to South Reach after the Blight. I do not write to them as often as I should. Ah, it's my turn.
All right, let's see what you've got.
This may be the longest we've gone without discussing the Inquisition, or related matters. To be honest, I appreciate the distraction.
We should spend more time together.
I would like that.
Me too.
You said that. We should finish our game, right? My turn? I believe this one is yours. Well played. We shall have to try again sometime. First the Templars, now the Grey Wardens. Both devoted their lives to fighting evil. Now they serve it.
If I was possessed by a demon, would you...
I would rather not consider it.
Did you leave anyone behind in Kirkwall?
No. I fear I made few friends there, and my family's in Ferelden.
No one special caught your interest?
Not in Kirkwall.
I should get to know you better. We are working together after all.
What would you like to know?
All right. Where are you from?
I grew up in Ferelden, near Honleath. I was transferred to Kirkwall shortly after the Blight. Traveling to Haven was the first I'd returned in almost 10 years.
Varric's from Kirkwall. Did you two know each other?
I knew he was friends with the champion of Kirkwall, but little else. We've spoken more since I joined the Inquisition, largely at Varric's insistence. Apparently, I spend too much time with a serious expression on my face, and it's bad for my health.
You were away from Ferelden for 10 years. Was it strange being back there again?
Strange? No. If anything, the opposite. I was not sorry to leave Ferelden when I did. I had no desire to return. But leaving Haven was more difficult than I would have imagined. Not just because Corypheus forced it upon us. It felt like I was abandoning my home. I never thought I'd feel that way again.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight. Did you fight Darkspawn?
No. I was stationed at Ferelden's Circle Tower. The Circle had troubles of its own. I remained there during the Blight.
What happened at the Circle Tower?
Few who survived the Blight have fond memories of that time. I would prefer not to speak of it.
What was Kirkwall like?
While I was there, Canary occupied and then attacked the city. The Viscount's murder caused political unrest. Relations between mages and Templars fell apart, an apostate blew up the Chantry, and the Knight Commander went mad. Other than that, it was fine.
What happened between Kirkwall's mages and Templars?
You were at the Conclave. You must have heard people speak of it.
Yes, but you were there.
There was tension between mages and Templars long before I arrived. Eventually, it reached a breaking point. There was fighting in the streets. Abominations began killing both sides. It was a nightmare.
What happened then?
The Templars should have restored order, but Red Lyrium had driven Knight Commander Meredith mad. She threatened to kill Kirkwall's champion, turned on her own men. I'm not sure how far she would have gone. Too far.
So you opposed her?
I stood with the champion against her, in the end. I should have seen through Meredith sooner.
I'll let you return to your work.
Another time, then. I'd be perfectly happy never again setting foot in the Winter Palace. It wasn't the gossip and backstabbing, I know what the game entails, but the indifference to it all.
I didn't care for it myself.
I shouldn't be surprised. The Chantry can be the same. Their politics are less extravagant, but just as heated. The Empress rules a country. The Divine influences half a continent.
Is there anything I should know?
I'm glad to have the Chargers on our side. Bull's men are professionals, despite evidence to the contrary.
What do you think of the people you work with?
Who do you mean?
What do you think of our ambassador?
We have little in common. How she delights in meeting with nobles all day is beyond me. But I enjoy working with her.
How do you like working with Leliana?
The Inquisition would not exist without her. I may not always agree with her methods, but she's more passionate about our cause than anyone. Cassandra may have declared the Inquisition publicly, but Liliana is just as responsible for its formation.
Are you satisfied with the Inquisition's forces?
Our soldiers handled themselves well during the siege on Adamant. They reacted quickly to changes on the battlefield. More importantly, they relied on each other. Trust in your fellow soldiers is not something that can be trained.
I should let you get back to work.
Is this what war is like?
Never been in one. Can't fight it. I can't help
Grand, isn't it? To know the sanctity of our race.
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've heard enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Talk to her, your worship.
The fun never ends in Skyhold, does it?
The Inquisitor was hilarious. That's what they'll say one day, you watch. I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be the next Divine. Because of what happened at Halam Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
How can you and Leliana be candidates? You're not even priests.
It's not without precedent. Amar III was sister to the Emperor, and Galatea a commoner. Leliana and I were, at least, part of the Chantry hierarchy. It would be accepted.
If they'll pick non-priests, why am I not a candidate?
Because you're a mage, first and foremost. If they name you a candidate, they may as well join the Tevinter Imperium. Truly, though, I imagine it's because they're frightened of you. A weight such as yours would break the Sunburst throne and tear the Chantry to pieces. I just don't know why they believe Leliana or I would be any better.
I think you'd make an excellent Divine.
Truly, I never look good in hats. Surely it was never meant to be like this. The Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templars, this cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
I'm surprised to hear you of all people say that.
Oh? Am I not the same woman who declared the Inquisition against the Chantry's wishes? In all my years as a Seeker, I did what I was told. My faith demanded it. But now my faith demands something else. That I see with better eyes.
The Chantry has failed, Cassandra.
It is disheartening that a believer would say that. Did you know Varric is Andrastian? Oh, he blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous. But he would never step foot in a Chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
I have influence, and I can use it to help the Chantry make up its mind.
I cannot ask you to do that.
You don't have to.
If you think that is the right thing to do, then thank you. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak my name for now, nothing more. For now, restoring order and stopping Corypheus remain our priority. Writing does not come naturally to me, as I'm certain you can imagine.
Let me guess, you're composing a love poem.
I couldn't. Not even if my life depended on it.
It's not that hard.
Yes, it is. Poetry takes finesse. It takes... grace.
You don't think you have those things?
Historians will one day ask what happened at Adamant Fortress, in the Fade. I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. It must be recorded.
That's an excellent idea, Cassandra.
I certainly thought so, until I started writing. I still don't know what to say about the spirit of the divine. I saw her there, heard her voice, yet I cannot claim with certainty it was really her. The Chantry teaches us that the souls of the dead pass through the Fade, so it could have been her. Yet even so...
Do you really think it might have been her? A ghost?
A ghost. A remnant of her hopes and memories. Her lingering will to do good. Those things are all possible. Nobody knows for certain what happens after we die. A spirit could have assumed her form, but why? It helped you, as Justinia herself would have.
I believe it was the Divine. She helped us one last time.
I hope that's true. I want to believe it. When I realized we were physically in the Fade, I was terrified, almost beyond reason. The last time such a thing happened, we created Darkspawn. We created Corypheus. The world needs to know the truth this time. No more legends lost to the ages. I understand if resources cannot be spared to help search for the missing Seekers, Inquisitor. Still, it could involve a threat we are unaware of. There may be a use in looking.
So, you're a candidate for Divine now?
So I am informed.
Is that something you actually want?
Why should what I want matter?
The idea of power doesn't appeal to you.
Ah, yes. To be embroiled in politics and have every cleric jealous of me for the rest of my life. It is very simple. The Chantry needs to survive. To do that, it must change. I have never believed in asking another to do what you are unwilling to do yourself. So I look upon this as an opportunity. I owe it to myself and all of Thedas to seek the Sunburst throne.
I think you'd make an excellent choice.
Thank you. Let's hope the Chantry clerics agree.
Do you have any advice for me?
It seems that Corypheus searches for elven artifacts. That's hardly surprising. Tevinter power is based on what those vultures scavenged from the ancient elves. Whatever advantage he hopes to gain, we need to stop him at once.
That's enough for now.
Another time, then.
I guess the hero of River Dane's story finally came to an end. Loghain was the Ferelden ideal, you know, the common boy who freed his kingdom and became a Terran. He helped to end the Fifth Blight. The rest aside, that made him a hero. He wasn't the first good man to fall to Corypheus. He won't be the last. This story's no good for heroes.
You must be glad that Hawk made it back in one piece.
Yeah, closest thing I've ever seen to a miracle there. Hawk asked me to tell everyone back in Kirkwall where she's going. I'll have to let Merrill know. I'd better write some letters. Excuse me. I need to have a few words with my publisher. The first one will be you, and the second one will be Bastard. They've claimed for years my crime serials don't sell in Orlais. So why is the Council of Heralds asking me for autographs? Sorry, distracted. Anyway, you need something?
Carry on.
So mortals try to find the Maker, and that becomes blind.
First, this wasn't my idea. It is an issue born of titles and heir apparency and... Halam Shiral is having difficulty freeing trade routes formerly controlled by Duchess Florian. Had she been tried, her assets would be forfeit and considerable bureaucracy avoided. So they ask that we judge her.
Are you serious? I did my part. She's dead.
That was the time allotted for rebuttal. Her crimes negated any claim to... Forgive me, there is an odor.
I call for rehabilitation. The skull shall do public theater about the evils of evil. I also judge the box. End table for orphans.
That's quite enough, Inquisitor. Point taken. How bracing to be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was en masse, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
You don't see the Empress of Orlais almost killed in cold blood every day.
Not so brazenly, no. The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. Corypheus skillfully took advantage. It's disturbing. So few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
The Empress realized she was in danger.
She's always in danger. Those loyal to her should have practiced more vigilance. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
My favorite moment of the evening is still our waltz in the garden.
I could have danced with you for hours. We must do it again sometime. I was hoping you'd be by. We've received letters from Archon Redanus of Tevinter and King Marcus of Nevada. For both monarchs to come to us is nearly unheard of.
Then the Inquisition's deeds have won their respect.
They'd never have contacted us otherwise. Archon Redanus requests that the Inquisition, as a neutral party, destroy a venatory cult on the Nevaran-Tevinter border. King Marcus asks the same, but demands we pledge allegiance to Nevara instead of Tevinter.
What course of action would you take if you were in my place?
Strained as their relationship with Orlais is, I would assist the Imperium. Their friendship is difficult to win, and Marcus is a fading power. Tevinter is the longer, richer game.
What sort of man is the King of Navarra?
At this point, elderly. Many fear his health will soon fail him. Still, he is a Pentagast. Their dynasty is exceptionally strong in Navarra.
As a Pentagast, will Cassandra be upset if we don't help her relatives?
With all respect to Sigar Pentagast, her interest in politics is best described as thin.
Why is the ruler of Tevinter turning on the Venatori?
He has little reason to love them. Archon Redanus has rightly identified Corypheus as competition. Few monarchs relish a self-styled god showing up to claim their throne.
Tell me about Redanus.
Like most Tevinter rulers, he's heir to an ancient bloodline, politically shrewd, and a highly skilled mage. Rumor also claims he has an incredibly soft spot for cats.
Tell the Archon the Inquisition will do Tevinter the favor of wiping out the Venatori on its borders.
Very good, Inquisitor. We'll inform him at once. A pleasure.
How do you stay so civil with everyone, Josephine?
Bonds of circumstance among the nobility are fickle. Civility is the only constant everyone admires. And I do deplore rudeness in those who know better.
Does it even become a strain sometimes?
Well, it can be trying. There is no shortage of self-regard among the nobility. The game can be wearying, discouraging, and extremely painful. But honestly, I'd miss meeting people. I've made the most fascinating friends.
One good thing about becoming Inquisitor has been meeting so many different people.
I'm pleased. I imagine we appear a strange bunch to those outside our circle. Mages, Templars, Seekers, and an apostate elf are not often found working in harmony. Or at all.
What do the people make of us?
We've gathered many favors among the nobility. They will be gently reminded of this.
Let's speak later.
Another time.
My dear, I'm afraid I must ask you for help. There is an alchemical formula that I must complete, but I have been unable to obtain a critical ingredient. The heart of a snowy wyvern. I had arranged to obtain one, but the chevaliers working with me were killed in the Civil War.
If I'm going to hunt down a snowy wyvern, I need you to tell me everything you know about it.
They're quite rare and exceedingly dangerous. Their venom is the most potent of any wyvern. Ordinary hunters would not make the attempt. The risk is too great. You, my dear, would certainly be an equal to this monster.
I didn't know you were an alchemist, Vivian. What exactly is this project you're working on?
It is a special request from a member of the Council of Heralds. I am still the Imperial Court Enchanter, after all. The matter is private. That is all there is to say.
I'm not a hunter. Why do you think I can help?
This beast is not hunted for sport, as other wyverns sometimes are. It is far more deadly. In the past, chevaliers have been dispatched to either kill the creatures or drive them away from villages. Since my chevaliers have fallen to political conflict, I find myself in need of someone with a martial aptitude.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, my dear. I would be most grateful. I shall give the location of its lair to Cullen. Remember, my dear, I must have its heart, or the potion will not work. I eagerly await your success. My dear, did you need me for something?
you have remarkably little here on early Tevinter history. All these gifts to the Inquisition, and the best they can do is the Malefica Imperio. Trite propaganda. But if you want 20 volumes on whether Divine Galatea took a shit on Sunday, this is evidently the place to find it.
And that's the Dorian I know, critiquing every book in my library.
I wouldn't have to if you could find some rebellious heretic archivist to join the cause.
Are there rebellious archivists? Other than you, that is.
If Corypheus ever starts burning masterworks of literature, I'm sure a few will pop up. Did I see something by Genitivi here? I could have sworn.
What is this about, Dorian?
When everyone returned, they told us about your tumble into the abyssal rift. You went into the Fade. Physically went in. You do realize this feat hasn't been performed in over 1,000 years. Corypheus and his contemporaries entered the Fade and began the Blights. In comparison.
It would have been easier if you'd been with me.
Without question. But I'm rather glad I wasn't.
No sense of adventure? That's surprising.
I've not your talent for survival. And not everyone is as discerning as I. If you can walk in the Fade, others will try to follow. Who knows what secrets Corypheus has revealed? Not all of them will be as lucky as you. What they could unleash. My advice? Keep this quiet. Let them speculate. Too many will see this as a challenge.
That's a good idea.
There are enough idiots in the world who think if they just use enough blood magic, their problems will vanish. It's exactly the sort of thing I want to stop back home. This I don't need. What I do need is a copy of the Liberalum. I'll wager I can find Corypheus's real name. If I can prove he was a grasping ankle-biter with no family to speak of, the luster would come right off. Wish me luck. Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
That's something you'd like to do more often, then?
Watch as you twist an entire empire around your little finger. Yes, please. Of course, that leaves only Tevinter. And it wouldn't work as well there.
No. Why not?
Our dances are so much more intense. If an evening lacks a murder, we sniff and call it a ball. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Popular topic. Anything specific?
Corypheus is a figure out of Tevinter history. He was a magister.
Yes, but that was a different time. The Imperium's power was at its peak then. The Civil War had ended. The Magisterium was united, its armies scooping up bits of Thedas like candy. The Magisters who entered the Black City. It was a demonstration of how exceptional Tevinter had become.
But who were they?
No one knows. There's no record of a Magister named Corypheus. All this happened 1400 years ago, before the Blight nearly wiped us out. There are no records. Today, people half believe it's all just a story. That's what I believe.
We have evidence the story is very much real.
But not who Corypheus is. If he even remembers. There used to be families who claimed some of those Magisters as their own. That stopped when the Chantry appeared. Then it was shameful, and the families distanced themselves from the tale. All we know is that some men and women entered the Black City looking for the old gods. What did they find? According to Corypheus, nothing. And only he could tell us more.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
I should go.
Try not to die. I would notice you were gone.
Inquisitor. I have been thinking. You remember everything now, yes? The explosion at Haven? The Fade? escaping the breach. In your report, you said Justinia was with you. But only you emerged in the end. Why? Why were you the only survivor?
She knew it was either her or me. And she wanted me to live.
Of course. Of course she did. That's just like her. Her message to me. I failed you too. I'm not sure I understand what that means. Did she say anything else? Anything at all? Please, if you remember.
Wait. You don't know what she meant either?
There are no answers in the Fate. Only illusions. A warped mirror. Justinia has never failed me. I was her left hand. Now she's dead. I failed her. So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
Is becoming divine something you really want?
When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
No one would fault you for abandoning ship, you know.
Out of the ship and straight into the sea. You think Thedas hates mages now? If the Chantry falls, don't you think the people will blame magic? Look at all that's happened. Kirkwall's Chantry, the war, the breach. Mages are always involved. Without the Chantry to guide, that hatred will spiral out of control.
Wow. You really don't think highly of Thedosians.
The people care only for simple things. Their world is small, and everything beyond it is unknown and something to fear. They will continue to live like this, unless they can be shown another way. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems. A message from Divine Justinia.
That's a shock. You're right reading it.
Thank you for the concern, Inquisitor. But I am. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there.
Do you know what you're looking for?
The Divine was a powerful woman who used her position to obtain all sorts of things. Whatever she hid in Valence would very likely benefit the Inquisition and must be kept from falling into the wrong hands. If I'm lucky, she will have instructions for me.
You take your instructions from me? What sort of help can a dead divine give you?
I don't know. Perhaps something to do with the Chantry. Or it could be personal. She guided me for many years, Inquisitor, as a divine and as a friend. There are days when I still look to her for advice, only to remember that I am alone.
Why hide things in Valence? What's so special about it?
Justinia was revered mother at the Chantry there for many years before she became the Divine. It is a place that holds great meaning for her.
I'll help in whatever way I can.
Wonderful. I was hoping you would agree to come with me to Valence. One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the Chantry in Valence. Try not to delay. What we learned at Adamant concerns me. The hero Ferelden and I have been together for years. I nearly lost her to the odd demon. She's looking for a way to stop the calling from taking her, as it does every Grey Warden. But if Corypheus has power over the Wardens, my love could be in danger.
If you two are still together, why isn't she here?
Her quest took her far to the west, to lands that have never known the Blight. But Justinia needed me here. I owed her that much. My love and I are never truly apart. When this is all over, I will join her again. And this time, nothing will come between us.
What makes her think she can stop the calling?
It has been done before. Grand Enchanter Fiona was once a warden, but something took all trace of the calling from her. A warden maid named Avernus also found a way to prolong his life with magic. It wasn't much, but enough to start the hunt. She will find a way. I have faith in her.
Were the two of you happy together in the years after the Blight?
Happier than you could imagine. The only shadow over our love was knowing that one day I would lose her to the calling. Her quest is for me as much as for her. She knows how much I have lost.
What would you like to do?
I do not know where the hero of Ferelden is precisely, but I know how to get a message to her. She may have information that helps the Inquisition. At worst, it will do no harm. I will draw up a plan in the war room. Thank you.
I'll leave you to your work.
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shiral, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
I'm pleased you had a good time.
Political gambits, broken promises, half-truths. It is a palace full of motivation, and motivation is where great things happen. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally, especially after helping her neutralize Briala.
I hope you know that I didn't turn over Briala lightly. If I'd had another option...
What? Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves. I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Your people have lost so much of their history and culture. To not even think of yourself that way.
I think of myself as me. That's all I've ever needed. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, Briala did what she could. She was an admirable woman, even if her gambit failed.
Even if we couldn't help Briala, I hope we can make life better for Orlesian elves.
Stop Corypheus. That will do for a start. It speaks well of you to feel for the oppressed. Help them for that. Know them for what they are, instead of just seeing a pair of pointed ears.
Where did demons come
Another completed work of...
Mages.
whatever they used to call them.
But where did they come from?
The Maker's first children, I think.
And he let them become old gods?
I don't know. The firstborn are spoiled shit.
It's time to plan our next attack. What's the state of the Inquisition?
We're well loved in Orlais. Say the words and Empress Celine will send her support.
And your actions at Adamant denied Corypheus his army of pet demons. With Orlais' support, our numbers match his. Corypheus's followers must be panicking.
My agents agree. Our victories have shaken his disciples.
We've beaten their god twice over. Corypheus must be livid. Where is he now?
After you dealt with the Duchess, Corypheus uprooted his major strongholds. He's moving south to the Arbor Wilds. His army clearly wasn't prepared to flee. Our victories have them on the defensive.
They've terrorized Thedas long enough. We end them now. If Corypheus is hiding in the Arbor Wilds, that's where we'll go.
But what is Corypheus doing in such a remote area?
His people have been ransacking elven ruins since Haven. We believe he seeks more. What he hopes to find, however, continues to elude us.
Which should surprise no one. Fortunately, I can assist.
You have my attention, Lady Morrigan.
What Corypheus seeks in those Forgotten Woods is as ancient as it is dangerous.
Which is?
'Tis best if I show you. This is an Illuvian, an elven artifact from a time long before their empire was lost to human greed. I restored this one at great cost, but another lies within the Arbor Wilds. That is what Corypheus seeks.
This belonged to my people.
I found legends of an elven temple within the Arbor Wilds, untouched. It proved too dangerous to approach, and thus I turned elsewhere to find my prize. If Corypheus has turned southward, he could succeed where I failed. The Illuvian would be his.
What does it do?
A more appropriate question would be, where does it lead? If this place once had a name, it has long been lost. I call it the Crossroads, a place where all Illuvians join, wherever they might be.
This place is extraordinary. How could this even exist?
Who can say? Formed from the fabric of time and space, perhaps. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few.
How did you find out about this place?
My travels have led me to many strange destinations, Inquisitor. Once, they led me here. It offered sanctuary.
Sanctuary?
Not all the mirrors lead back to our world. The ancients were nothing if not resourceful.
If they don't lead back to our world, then...
Places between, like this one. I can describe it no better. For a time, I was safe from those who hunted me, but only for a time. One cannot remain in between forever.
What do you mean, a few can be opened from this side?
Some of the Illuvians have been left unlocked, like doors accidentally left ajar. All others are closed. They can be opened only from beyond.
Opened how?
With a key.
I suppose you have such a key.
The key can be many things. Each Illuvian is different. I have knowledge as well as power. Often that is enough.
Corypheus wants to come here.
This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
And enter the Fade in the flesh, like Corypheus wanted to do with the Anchor.
He learned of the Illuvian in the Arbor Wilds as I did. He marshals the last of his forces to reach it. You have made Corypheus desperate, Inquisitor. We must work together to stop him, and soon.
Fertile ground even here.
You're the Inquisitor. Mother never told me the Inquisitor was an elf.
The ears gave me away, didn't they?
No, your blood is very old. I saw it right away.
Kieran, are you bothering the Inquisitor?
Of course not. Did you see what's on her hand, Mother?
I did see. 'Tis time to return to your studies, little man. My son. Never where you expect him to be, naturally.
I didn't know you had a son.
Why would you? I take great pains to not let my own reputation affect him in any way. To most in the Imperial Court, he's simply a quiet and well-spoken lad, perhaps the heir of some distant family. But he goes where I go. Worry not, Inquisitor. Kieran is a curious boy, but seldom troublesome.
Will his father be joining us as well?
I have raised Kieran on my own for quite some time now, as was my preference from the start. So 'tis but the two of us, Inquisitor. Your fortress is a large place, and you will scarce notice our presence.
He seems like a fine young man.
But not the sort one might expect a woman like me to raise. No son of mine would be raised in a marsh, bereft of contact with the outside world. His future will be difficult enough without my adding to his burden. To think, until recently this place stood decrepit, occupied only by the desperate and the lost. Now it is party to events that threaten to shake the world. I wonder if it is pleased.
It sounds like you've heard of Skyhold before.
This fortress was built upon the remains of a site holy to the ancient elves. They called it Tarar Salan, the place where the sky is kept. It is said that from here, they reached up to the heavens to bring them down to rest. They abandoned it, as did the humans who came after them. Bones laid upon bones, silent until your arrival.
I like this place. I've made it mine.
The magic in this place has seeped into the stones, protecting it from darkness. Those who let it fall to ruin did not know what they possessed. You, I think, shall do it justice. You were kind to welcome my aid, Inquisitor, even knowing as little of me as you do. I will do my best to aid your cause with all the knowledge at my disposal. This I swear to you.
I appreciate whatever help you can give us.
Some might think Corypheus a madman for seeking godhood. Yet one must ask, what were the old gods? What secrets of theirs did the ancient magisters know? What I fear, what all should fear, is not that Corypheus believes he can succeed. 'Tis that he actually may. I understand you have spared the Grey Wardens from destroying what goodwill was left them. 'Tis good of you, considering the weakness Corypheus exploited was their own doing. Still, should a true archdemon one day arise, they will no doubt be needed. Or so they would have us believe.
Now that you've seen the Inquisition up close, what are your impressions?
'Tis remarkable what you have built. I will give you that. Leniana has built a network of spies beyond anything Thedas has seen. All this in precious little time, conjured from thin air through the power of fervor alone. I wonder if Corypheus suspected what he was enabling, just as I wonder what will become of all this once he is defeated.
We have to defeat him first. Then I'll worry about what's next.
Should that happen, the world will lie at your feet, more or less. Beware the heights you reach, Inquisitor. When this is done, many will be eager to knock you back down.
I'd like to know more about you.
Ah, yes. Whence comes the mystery woman slinking her way into the Inquisition's ranks? Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Kukari wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
It's odd that an apostate could live so openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some Chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight.
The Blight began in the Kukari wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. She is the reason the Blight was defeated. I wish things had gone differently in the end. It had to be, yet. And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
The Orlesian court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no Chantry mage could. Thus we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. Truth be told, our arrangement would not have lasted much longer. Too many wagging tongues, even for Celine.
I'll leave you to the garden.
As you like.
Thanks for my life in Haven. You've all sorts serving now. If that means change, so be it.
I asked Mother Giselle, and she said you're wrong.
Interesting
Probably.
altogether.
Does it matter?
I appreciate the warning, but you shouldn't have come yourself. What if the guild found out, or what's his name?
Are you worrying for me or for yourself?
A little of column A, a little of column B. I am the expendable one, after all.
Oh, don't worry, I'll protect you. We'll just have to... Well, this is a surprise. You're the Inquisitor, right? Bianca Davry, at your service.
Your name is Bianca?
It's a common name. Half the girls in the Merchants Guild are named Bianca. The other half are named Helga. I lucked out.
I take it you're a friend of Varric's.
Who isn't a friend of Varric's? You have met him before, right?
Why do you both look like cats that got into the cream?
She's taken a huge risk coming here herself. Maybe for both of us.
You're such a worrier. There's a giant hole in the sky. I think the Merchants Guild has bigger things to think about.
Bianca's got a lead on where Corypheus got his red lyrium.
The site of Bartran's Folly, the tag Varric found, has been leaked. There's a Deep Roads entrance crawling with strange humans carting out red lyrium by the handful.
How do we know they're not using multiple entrances to get to the Tig?
Navigating the Deep Roads isn't like the surface. There's no accurate maps of the whole system, and there are cave-ins, darkspawn, lava floods. If you find a route that gets where you're going, you don't deviate. Trying to find another way could be deadly.
Who could have given away the Tig's location?
There were a few people who knew. Hirelings from the expedition, a couple of close friends.
How they found out isn't important. What matters is we know where they are now.
If it's such a secret, how do you know about it, Bianca?
I told her. Right after the expedition, I wrote and told Bianca what we found. I had artifacts that needed buyers, and she had more contacts that would pay for them. Plus, I owed her.
You can get there from Orlais. It's a long way to the Free Marches.
The deep roads are all connected. Or they used to be. Collapses and such. Some of them on purpose.
They really are roads. They spanned the Dwarven Empire, went to every corner of the continent, maybe further. In theory, you can get to any Tig using the deep roads, but in practice, there's a reason nobody uses them anymore.
We need to deal with this. As long as he has this source, Corypheus is that much more powerful.
I couldn't agree more.
I'll keep an eye on their operation. If you're interested in shutting it down, you've got my help. Try not to leave me waiting too long, Varric. I've got my own work to do, you know.
Right. That's not going to be trouble at all. Let me know when you want to head to the entrance.
Battling the demons of paperwork. That's a fight nobody walks away from clean.
You have no idea the number of times I've almost been killed by bills of lading. I've been meaning to come talk to you anyhow. I never officially joined the Inquisition. I don't know how to do this, disciplehood thing. I'm a businessman. Never really followed a chosen one before.
I don't need a disciple. I need a friend.
If you knew how intimidating you are, you wouldn't make it sound so simple. You just don't know what you are to the people out there. The Herald of Andraste is a symbol bigger than any of us.
What am I to you, then?
None of this shit makes any sense to me. Is this the end of the world? Did Andraste send you through the breach? I have no idea. You heard the crowd singing after Haven was attacked?
Whatever I am to Thedas, I'm still just an ordinary person.
So, just a regular person, like anybody else. Right. I should probably get back to work. Unless, you up for a game of Wicked Grace? What can I do for you, Inquisitor?
About that lead of yours, Varric.
Sure. The sooner we take care of it, the better.
Do you think this lead of hers is real?
Bianca's too much of a researcher to pass me information without verifying it first. But if you're asking whether she'd lie to us, maybe set us up, it's possible. Not likely, though. She risked the wrath of the guild coming in person. A message would have sufficed. Whatever she found in that entrance shook her up. That worries me.
The red lyrium we found at the temple seemed to upset you.
My brother Bartrand and I sort of discovered red lyrium during an expedition in the Deep Roads. We located an ancient thaig, so old it barely looked dwarven. There was this idol there made of it. Bartrand brought it back to the surface, and, well, everything's gone downhill from there.
I think that's enough on red lyrium.
Yeah, not really my favorite subject.
Sister
A
Liliana
pleasure.
says the guests are on their way. The last
Let's speak
inheritance
later.
is discovered. Farewell. And taupe is not a spring color. Good. Tell her we've prepared their best stateroom. The inheritors will be contacted, and yes,